Now, the BBC has been hearing gruesome testimony of abductions and beheadings in Mozambique. An Islamist insurgency in the East African nation has driven more than 500,000 people from their homes in the past year. But aid agencies say it's a humanitarian crisis that the rest of the world has ignored. A BBC team has reached a besieged town at the heart of the conflict, the first international journalist to do so. Our Africa correspondent Andrew Harding has sent us this report from Palma in Cabo Delgado region of Mozambique.
It looks alluring, but below us, northern Mozambique is now a place of terror. We're flying into Palma, a small town under siege, all roads cut, the outskirts unnervingly empty. In town, we find traumatised families. These children have just fled their village on foot, seeking refuge here. Their uncle holds up an ID card, his brothers, beheaded with 6 others at the weekend. We have nothing left now, says Said Amade. The men who attacked our village told us, we kill as we please. We are Al-Shabaab. And here is Al-Shabaab, a homegrown insurgency now linked to the Islamic State group, with a taste for abductions and butchery. Its fighters have swept through this region with bewildering speed. A savage, scorched earth offensive. No wonder people in Palma are close to panic, food supplies running low. The situation here in Palma really is very grim, and you can see the frustration and the desperation amongst local people because there's simply no food, and what food there is incredibly expensive.
Very, very angry. I'm very angry. I have 3 days without eating nothing. And I'm here, but I don't get nothing.
As we fly out of Palma, a glimpse of building work for a multi-billion-dollar gas project. Resource-rich Mozambique could be wealthy, but the money rarely seems to reach the public. Instead, poverty, resentment, and now conflict. We're heading to a makeshift camp for displaced families. In the past year, Al-Shabaab have forced 500,000 people in this remote region to run for their lives. You get a real sense here of the scale of the conflict and also how quickly it's accelerating. This camp alone had about 60,000 people in it 3 months ago. Today, it's doubled in size. The conditions are bleak. So are the stories that people have carried with them. Many children from our village are here alone. Their mothers were abducted, says Amina Bakar. They took my 14-year-old granddaughter, says Alberto Carlos. I can only guess what's happened to her. Against these militants, Mozambique's government forces are struggling, to put it politely. They've hired private foreign security companies to help out, but both have been accused of human rights abuses. And still the exodus of civilians continues, many fleeing by boat along the coast. On a beach, Fatima Abdul shows me her makeshift tent. But the smiles hide her trauma. During their escape, her 22-year-old daughter was torn from her arms by an Al-Shabaab militant. I watched them take her, she says. Then they set fire to our village. And so it is that a tranquil corner of Africa sinks into chaos and despair. Andrew Harding, BBC News, in northern Mozambique.